In New Hampshire, let's turn there next as we look at these pictures. Democrats voting in the first in the nation primary. It's a big test in the Democrats' run for the White House today. The stakes are higher than ever in New Hampshire after the muddled results coming out of the Iowa caucuses. This morning, the traditional midnight votes in the tiny communities of Dixville Notch and Hart's Landing are adding new twists. Michael Bloomberg is not even on the ballot in New Hampshire, and yet he won one. Amy Klobuchar the other. They're the front runners in those midnight votes. And speaking of being on the run...
Good morning, sir. How are you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Our road warrior Katie Simpson with the early bird question to Joe Biden as he left his hotel before 7 o'clock this morning. Katie is still live with us, and she's going to be leading coverage for you all day on CBC News Network. But Katie is inside a polling station in Nashua for us now. Saw some signs with another. We have a couple of live cameras, Katie. So it looks like a steady flow of voters, I guess, on what should be a pretty dramatic day for Democrats. Set the scene for us.
Well, let me take a step out of the way, and you can see this is the voting process underway. There's been a steady, quiet sort of stream of people coming in to cast their ballots in the New Hampshire primary. And I've actually got two voters here who are willing to chat with us. Esther and her husband, Paul. Thank you very much for chatting with us today. Now, you guys both participated in the Democratic primary today. May I ask, who are you guys supporting?
Bernie, straight up.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. What is it about Senator Sanders that you guys like?
I just thought he had the same values that we did.
Yeah, same here. We're very nervous about the pharmaceuticals and the drug costs and that sort of stuff. And I think he speaks well for supporting that, lowering our prices. But in the end, I think there's 3 or 4 candidates that are just as good as the next one, but you got to choose one. So that's our choice.
What do you make of the crowded field and how there are points of strength with so many frontrunners?
There's too many of them to choose from, and they should really all get together.
Yeah, it's like we had a taste of it 4 years ago where we had like 18 or 20 Republicans running for office. So it repeats itself. So I think that the Democratic Party is going to whittle it down to, I mean, this is the first primary. So it's a long ways to go, and indications here are that Bernie probably goes the route. So that's why I voted for him.
Now, as Canadians, we follow very closely what happens in Washington, but you live here in New Hampshire. What's it like watching what's going on at the White House right now?
Awful. Plainly
bothers us
awful.
a lot. And the scary part is nobody seems to address it. Like I saw a TV ad on if any normal person would act like he does, they'd be fired. But they get away with it. It's really sad. It's nothing I'm proud of.
And my last question for both of you is, are you concerned that because there are so many Democrats that are running and because the campaigns are turning a little bit divisive right now, are you worried there's going to be too much infighting and that there's not going to be motivation in the Democrats?
No, I don't think it's going to be any infighting. I think they're going to settle it. This is just the round one. And it's going to straighten out, I think.
Esther, last word to you.
I just hope they straighten out and get support behind each other, whoever they choose.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. And so that's a big theme down here. We spoke with people in Iowa. We spoke with people in New Hampshire, Democrats, of course. And the big one of the slogans is vote blue no matter who. We've talked about that a couple of times because people want to make sure that whoever the Democratic nominee has united backing behind them to take on President Donald Trump.
Katie, given some of the comments, it doesn't look like there is much of that feeling of unity, but you're right. They obviously feel it is an important thing, and electability, those key things. Thanks so much for this conversation. We'll look forward to listening in as you report from New Hampshire for us today in a Nashua polling station for us this morning.